Hey, this video is going to go over the first page from the study guide, which is focusing on points, lines, and planes. All right, just a heads up, we didn't really talk a whole lot about planes, but a plane is essentially a flat surface, right? So think about like your desk or a wall or a ceiling or just a sheet of paper, right? All of those are flat surfaces, and in geometry we call those things planes. All right, so the first question here is we want to basically name a line. Okay. Now there's a couple options here. I see a line that's going mostly in the up-down direction, and there's a second line that's going left to right. Okay. Now remember that lines extend infinitely in both directions, so you're going to see arrows on both ends. Right, so the red line there, there's a couple ways to name it. We can call it line YP, or we can call it line PY. Okay. Or we can simply call it line H, although that's not really the more common ways of naming the line. Okay. On a test, I'd like you to write it using the capital letters. Right, for the line in green, we can call that line XZ or ZX, or we can name it using the lowercase letter there, line G. Okay. All right, again, my preference would be that you use the two-letter naming system. Okay. All right, question number 4, now we want to name two rays. Okay. Well, if I take these lines, I can split them up into rays. For instance, right, I have the ray that goes down in blue, the ray that goes up in red. We have one ray that goes to the left in green, and then let's choose another color here. Here's a ray that goes to the right in black. Okay, so that's 4 rays: red, blue, green, and black. Okay. All right, now it takes 2 letters to name a ray. So this red ray, we can call it, I'll just write the name over here, YP. Make sure that the arrow is above the P, since that's where the arrow is closest to in the picture. Okay. All right, for the green ray, we can call it ray XY. Again, the arrow needs to be above the X. Okay, if we wanted to name the blue ray, we actually can't because we need 2 letters to name the blue ray. So if we want to add another point here, and let's just choose a letter that hasn't been used yet, like W, right, we can call the blue ray YW. And then the black ray, let's switch over to black here, we can call that YZ. Okay. YZ with the arrow above Z. Okay. All right, number 5, name a pair of opposite rays. Okay, well, the red and the blue are opposite, right? One goes up, one goes down. And the green and the black are opposite rays, right? They point in exact opposite directions. Okay. All right, the last one, name a point that's not in the plane. Okay. In other words, name a point that's not on this flat surface. Okay. And I see one point in particular, P, right? That point is like floating above the surface. And this one that I've created here, W, that would be like floating below the surface. Okay, so either one would work. I'll go with P since that was originally in the picture. All right, so there you have it. Lines, rays, points.